I was supposed to help and protect, and I didn't get to do that. I carry a lot of people like that.
We're taught to see law enforcement as strength, uniform, authority, control. But what does it cost to live in danger every day?
Oh no, this is bad. Don't do that again. Don't do something stupid like this again. Don't come back here again. But it was stupid, And I'm blaming myself.
Jennifer Eskew.
Jennifer Eskew.
Former Virginia State Trooper.
The first full-time female undercover officer in the state's history.
And now the author of Becoming Fire. Didn't just survive a world of drug dealers and gun traffickers. She ran it.
9/11 didn't just take lives that day. Years later, it handed her a cancer diagnosis.
They sent her into hell. She came back with a book.
My guest today started as a Virginia State Trooper. She went undercover in drug rings, gun trafficking cases, biker gangs.
Why in the hell did you come down this hallway? You dummy. You shouldn't have come here. I might end up dying in the closet. Why did he make me come back here for a $20 rock?
She stepped into rooms most of us would run from. Then, she joined the ATF. And after 9/11, she was assigned to help investigate the Pentagon, sifting through debris, breathing in toxins, standing in the aftermath of catastrophe. Years later, the exposure contributed to a cancer diagnosis.
Uterine cancer is 9/11 related. I'm not mad as hell. I'm way further mad than that because it's not right. It's not fair.
This episode isn't just about crime scenes. It's about the trauma that doesn't make headlines and what happens to your nervous system when hyper-vigilance becomes your baseline. It's about the hidden personal cost of a life spent protecting others. Because behind every badge is a body. And sometimes the sacrifice isn't visible until it's too late.
It's the only thing I have left on the plate. It makes me mad every day.
Are you proud of yourself? Jennifer, welcome to the Shadow Sessions.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
I'm going to start from my first curiosity peak, which is what makes a girl want to join the Virginia State Troopers?
I grew up as a tomboy, without a doubt. I grew up on a farm in a rural farming community in the South in Virginia. Playing with toy guns and running around out on the farm that was every day. That was all the time. But it wasn't just that. I think that I got the spark, and I don't know for sure, when I was 6. And at that time, my mother and my sister, who was 3 at the time, and our neighbors, Helen, Nettie, and Trudy, who were a little older than my mom, they had all gone shopping for the day. On their way back, they saw a wrecked police car out in a field. Mm-hmm. And so they saw this man out there waving his hands, and he had guns, but they thought he was the policeman. And so they stopped to see if they could help him. When he came to the car, it was wintertime. They had their windows up, and they'd just gotten there, and he'd gotten over to where their car was. He was yelling, and Miss Nettie didn't understand what he was saying. Without any warning, he just started shooting at them. Wow. And all the windows were shot out of the car, and Helen, who was driving, sped off. Nettie was shot. She did survive it. In fact, she lived to be 94. That event was big. Yeah. There was a big manhunt that went on, and they captured him. I was little, so I was always... we don't eavesdrop as 6-year-olds, but we always seem to find a way to hide so we can hear what's going on. So I remember doing those things and hearing, and I think that's the spark. And then I just sort of found myself over the years, every once in a while, kind of looking out for somebody that might, maybe they were getting bullied, and I didn't tolerate that.
So you were a protector from a very young age.
I think so. I can't think of any other way to describe it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you saw in that early memory is your people that you love feeling unsafe.
Very much.
And it activated that I don't want them to feel this way ever again.
Yeah.
And then, do you have anybody in law enforcement in your family?
I didn't then.
Okay.
Nobody. I didn't know anybody. I knew as I looked at it as a little kid, the old men who were policemen in our town or whatever, and it was only a couple. You knew them, but they were like older than my dad. They were old, man. So you just really didn't have that connection to someone who had a uniform, had a badge, and none of those things.
So I think it was 100% then protection because you didn't have a frame of reference of somebody in your family being in the force.
Right.
But your brain was like, okay, that's a robber, that's a criminal, that's bad as a child. So I have to be the opposite.
Yep.
Then I have to be law enforcement.
Well, I think every kid, and this is everywhere, when they are playing any kind of game, cops and robbers or whatever it may be, everybody wants to be the good guy. Everybody wants to be the champion, the hero, the protector, the person that's respected. They want to be that. Nobody grows up saying, yeah, I'm going to grow up and be the gangster. I'm going to grow up and be the awful person. I'm going to be the bad guy. And nobody grows up playing that. They don't want to play that role. They want to switch out. It's my turn. It's my turn. I want to be the police,
And how was your experience being a trooper, especially back in the day as being one of the early women that are in that field?
When I finally realized, because it hit me at 18, I thought about it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to college. I'm not doing this. And it kept nagging at me. I was like, just kept going. And so finally, at 22, it was like, I'm doing this. I sort of ask my dad. And because that's how I usually normally did things with him. It's like I told him what I was going to do, but I was also asking. And he didn't respond because I was telling him about the city of Richmond and the city of Norfolk being a city police officer. Because I knew from TV women work with city police departments. And even though I hadn't seen a woman police officer, I was sure that a city would hire me. He thought about it for a couple of minutes. It was really long, 2 minutes. I remember it distinctly. And he said, no, you need to go with the Virginia State Police. And I was like, they don't hire women. And I was laughing at him. He goes, yes, they do. So I ended up at his direction going. And next thing you know, I'm being called, going through the process, and I'm getting hired. And I just stayed elated the whole time. I was so just, yes, this is what I want to do. Yeah. I found what I wanted to do.
Wow. At 22.
22. And by the time I started, I just turned 23 and I was thrilled to be there.
Amazing. Tell me a little bit about your career and how it kind of transitioned you into Undercover.
At the academy, I saw just a little bit with the crime scene working, like real felony criminal crime scene work. And that amazed me. That was fascinating. But I also, the autopsy and just the whole investigative background and having the medical examiner come in, Dr. Fierro, she came in and spoke to us and she just blew me away. Did the Trooper Academy like you have to do. Did well there, got out and started making rookie mistakes as a uniformed trooper day one. I mean, everybody says, you make mistakes, but you'll learn from them. And I was like, am I supposed to learn everything in the first week? Because so far I'm right there. I'm making a lot of mistakes. I was probably harder on myself than everybody else, but I also didn't want everybody to look at me and think, okay, this is a girl. This is why she can't do it. And I didn't want that. I just, no, that we're going to settle for that. And I got to where I was on my own and out and working. And every once in a while I get to do this little one-hit simple undercover thing. And I love that. And I was told that if I ever wanted to get to be a special agent and work crime scenes, work criminal work, investigation-wise, that part of it would be to work undercover if I ever had an opportunity, along with all the other things, the testing, the evaluations, the panel interviews, and years of experience. And all I could think was, I'll work undercover. I can do the undercover. And so one day, I'd been on the job working about 3 years. Well, closer to 3.5, I guess, if you count the academy time. And they asked me, would I be interested in being a full-time undercover trooper? I couldn't say yes fast enough. I really couldn't. I wanted to do it. I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's go.
What about it was calling you?
It got a lot of combination of everything. My personal life was completely in shambles at the moment, so I didn't have anything else keeping me busy. All my best friends, they all had personal lives, and so they were busy. And all I was doing was working and working and working. And I guess the other part of it was I saw that as an opportunity that I could do more, I could learn more, and that it would open up doors in the future if I just could be successful at that.
Did you see the risk?
I'd like to say I did, and I don't think I did. I had a couple of people that tried to whisper to me about the dangers, but not really, because the dangers were no different than me stopping a car in the middle of the night by myself on the side of the interstate. I've been doing that. That was okay.
Yeah.
So what were you telling me? What was going to be dangerous? I'm just going to go over here and buy drugs. People buy drugs all the time. How hard could it be? And so that was, part of that. The other thing was, I'm going to have somebody watching me. In fact, when my mom was asking me a little bit about it, and she didn't want to know too much, or I think she did, but she was afraid to ask too much. It was me reassuring her, as well as my dad, that working undercover was going to be fine because I had a topside agent with me, somebody who would be listening on the body wire, and he would be close by. When I was a trooper, I just had a radio I'd have to get to and talk to and ask for somebody to come. But this person would be close. So that'd be safe.
Do you remember your first assignment?
The first one was immediately moving into a housing project with another undercover female. She had just gotten out of the academy for her city police department, and they had let her work dispatch so she wouldn't be seen on the street. We moved in, and we started trying to meet people right away and trying to buy drugs and to see if we could get invited to parties or whatever. And that wasn't really working out because we were getting asked out on dates, and people were trying to do what we call accommodation drugs, just to get us dope because they thought they were going to get hooked up with us, which was not what we were there for. So that was like, this is not working. So they were finally like, okay, we're going to get them separated. They're going to live together, but they're going to work separately and go from there, but they're going to have informants. They'll get introduced that way. And so that started working fast. That worked out, and we just started buying a lot of drugs. And usually we just see each other like maybe in the passing, either in the morning or at night, and it'd be like, what'd you end up getting? What'd you get? Did you buy off so-and-so yet? That sort of thing. Most of what we were buying at that time was crack because there was a lot of it. It was the crack explosion, because this was 1989. We started August 15th. So by November, we were buying drugs all day, every day. It was just like, you had no time. And I'd spend Sunday afternoons at my topside guy, his name was C.B. Wyatt, Charlie. I'd spend a lot of Sunday afternoons at Charlie's house eating pizza with his family. That was really nice for them to have me over and give me some normalcy, but also to write up reports. Because when I left there, I was Lee Baylor again, which was my undercover name. And so when I left their house, I was Lee. And where I stopped, if it was a gas station, if it was McDonald's, it didn't matter. I was Lee.
You were Lee. You
Always
were in
Lee.
full undercover,
all the time,
full personality all the time. What does that do to your psyche? Like, how do you stay in character? Do you feel like you're acting, or do you feel like you have to really become?
At first, maybe you think it's almost like acting or trying to have it's no script, of course, so it's all improv. But you just have the assignment. Like, I come in and I'm just going to buy dope from you. So for those few minutes, I'm Lee, I'm there, and I'm there to buy dope, and that's it. Or get a gun, whatever it is you got. The chit chat sticks to business because it's business. I mean, we're not there to talk about dates.
Yeah.
It's not the life. So we're to come in to chit chat with you for a little bit, get that down, get it on tape, come back out, hand it over to the topside people, and move on from there. So it's such short little improv, it's not a big deal. On the full-time level, your brain and your thinking are you, but you're also planning and plotting what you have to do as the other person, Lee. There's an awful lot of going on in conversation inside your head during this time, which doesn't really allow room for that little voice of self-doubt. You just push that right out because it has to go, because you've got too much going on and you're doing too much to have any of that going on in your head. And there's just no room for more voices, because Jennifer's got to do this, but Lee needs to do this. But how am I going to get Lee in the position to where she can do that? Also, Jennifer's got to deal with supervisors, and Jennifer's got to deal with paperwork. And Lee would like to sleep in for the day, and that doesn't work out.
as you're describing it, what it's starting to sound to me is like nearly like a split personality. You know, when people start to split between two personalities, you know, and it's like one personality takes over and then one personality has to take a step back. And that's how split personalities are.
You know, I can be completely in Jennifer mode, just be me with my business and my work going on, and get out of the car, me walking across the parking lot and have somebody going, hey girl. And now Lee has to appear because it's somebody that's wanting to sell me something. It's somebody wanting to know what I want to get hooked up with. It's somebody telling me that they found something I've been looking for, like maybe a gun or whatever it might be. And so, so you switch out. And if I did not answer or did not respond and stayed Jennifer and ignored them, they're wondering was you know, and you might cause doubt with them, and that's not good. So
I have so many questions because this is so fascinating
it's so
for
weird,
me.
Isn't it?
It's fascinating for me because I'm understanding what's going on in your mind. Right. So I'm like, oh my God, the brain has to split, and then it does this, and then it has to come back to normalcy, and then your nervous system which is my next question, is probably it doesn't have a baseline because it's always alert. Your nervous system is always alert. You're always on. Always. And
it has to be. Unless you are asleep, you're constant. I got to where, and I tell people it's taken me a long time to get past this. And you probably noticed it if you pay attention to me enough. The watching you and watching everybody in the room here. But I don't stay focused on your eyes all the time. And I've dealt with people a lot in my life in which I don't, and I'm making myself do it now, to watch your eyes, because I'm paying attention to your hands.
Yeah.
Your hands can hurt me. Your eyes can't. You know, and it's that sort of thing. And so I got very used to when I went into rooms, when I went into bars, when I went into a meeting or in a car with somebody, and I knew that it was work. This is an undercover situation, and the person I'm dealing with has the potential for violence, has the potential to out me. I can't have that happen either. It's that thing of paying attention to other things. I am looking for other people coming up on the car. I'm looking for other people in the room that might approach, that might have a problem with me talking to this person, because I may be talking to somebody or buying dope from someone that is in a different gang, a different group. And now they're seeing me buy from another gang. And it's like, wow, okay, so
you're constantly scanning the environment.
It's always. And so you pay attention. And I'm looking for my exit too. Because in a lot of the places that I worked, I needed to know where my exit was. And they talk about how we don't sit with our backs to the door.
Yes.
It's because I need to see who's coming in. I need to know. I need to know that's also my way out.
Yeah.
But it's that, and it's little things like that. And I make a conscious effort, like the looking somebody in the eye. I make the conscious effort also to
turn your back to the exit.
To actually sit down. Like I was sitting down the other night with my husband, and we went someplace to grab a bite to eat. And I took the side that would put my back to the door, and immediately it made me
anxious,
nervous, that little unease. I had that little twinge of unease, and I was like, just let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, because it was years of conditioning. That's like practice, daily behavior, daily surveillance, daily vigilance. Yeah. And now you're retired.
I
and
have 32 years of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of years. Talk to me about your most complicated undercover that you feel created the most unrest within you.
Not the most complicated case. Okay. In fact, it should have been simple. I dealt with this guy named Freddie. And Freddie was in a wheelchair because he'd been shot. It was in Portsmouth, Virginia, and it was in a very, very rough neighborhood. It was a really rough section. The housing was so old. My team at that time, the people I was assigned with, it was 4 white guys in their 40s sitting in a van 6 blocks away because they can't be there. They can't be in that neighborhood. They don't fit. They don't belong there. They were able to get 2 of the black detectives from the city of Portsmouth to work with us. And they stayed out on the street, kind of walking and just hanging out in the neighborhood. They stayed close by. They had a portable radio hooked up with one of them had it in his ear piece so that he could at least hear them send help to me from the van. The van could hear me on the body wire and actually hear what's going on. At least you hope they can. All I had to do was go in and buy $20 worth of rock. Not a big deal. And we get there, and I've got an informant. This is on the first introduction. And I go. The guy who lets us in the door, he's wearing his Navy uniform, and he's holding a sawed-off shotgun. And what I mean by sawed-off shotgun, this thing overall it's a double-barrel little shotgun, maybe 18 to 20 inches long total. I mean, it was just small. And so he's guarding the door. We go in. In the process of doing this deal with Freddie, it's confusing for a second. Yeah. He doesn't know me, but he knows the girl I'm with. She's introduced me not by my undercover name of Lee. She introduced me as Charlotte. So I got to switch modes really quickly because, okay, she just called me Charlotte. And now Freddie's calling me Charlotte. Except the problem is Freddie thinks he knows me. And I'm picking that up in the conversation. Charlotte, where have you been? You're supposed to be coming by here, girl. I haven't seen you in this day. And I'm like, he thinks he knows me. It's like, man, I've been working. I've been trying, everything. I hadn't been over this way in a while. I'm in Norfolk working because that was part of our undercover deal that I was working with her to dry cleaners in Norfolk. It's all happening. And I keep feeling this thing to the side of my head, to the right side, over just right at my temple sort of. And I'm like, what is that? So I suddenly turn my head to the right and just kind of glance over. And I realized that the guy from the door hadn't gone back to the door. He's still standing there by me, but he's got the sawed-off shotgun up to my head. There's that sort of thing when you look down the barrel of a shotgun on the wrong end of it. It's like, and I can't panic. That's not going to work. And I can't do anything physically to make that go away. And so I've got to do something. And so I just leaned all the way down to Freddie in his chair and got kind of close. And I said, hey, could you ask him to get that thing away from my head? Luckily, Freddie did a favor for Charlotte. He yelled at him to get back to the door. He called him Trey, and he said, Trey, get back to the door. So the guy goes back over to the door, like he's supposed to. It's only 7 steps away or so. We're in a small place. So we're there, and we do this deal. And I'm thinking, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. But we leave. We got our $20 worth of rock. And I go back to this place for another deal, for another $20 worth of rock. And I don't go with the informant. Yeah. I go on my own because I don't need her. I obviously, the dude thinks he knows me. This is good. I get there. The guy that's normally at the door with the shotgun, he's not there this time. Instead, there are 2 really large guys that are there. And he says, go to the back. Go back to the back room on the back right. So I start heading down this hallway with these 2 guys. And it's just a little small, narrow hallway. And as I'm stepping into the doorway, to the left, there's this little twin bed. And there's this guy there. And he's just laying there. And there's this needle right there at his arm. And he's just laying there.
Dead or high?
I was trying to make that decision.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out what's wrong, because something is off.
Yeah.
And also my brain is just screaming at me, why in the hell did you come down this hallway? You have now walked to a room. This is not the place to be. Why didn't we do the deal in the front room like we did last time? Why does he want me down here? My brain is just yelling all of the things of, you dummy, you shouldn't have come here. And I just kind of put my back to that. And I'm thinking, I'm going to end up dying in a closet in this piece of crap, damn crack house. What did I come back here for? Why did he make me come back here for a $20 rock? Meanwhile, the guy on the bed's still not moving and he's not breathing. And I've seen dead people. I've been around dead people in my job. This guy's not moving. Like there's not flinch. There's nothing. There's no raising to the chest and he's just there. The house stinks. It's not like a body odor from a dead body, but I don't think he's been dead that long. But he's definitely, he's either a master at holding his breath or he's just very dead. And the 2 large guys are just to my right in front of me, like at the 1 o'clock and 12:30 position. And Freddie has wheeled into the room and he's right in front of me with the wheelchair, so I can't even get over top of him to get out of the door. He wants to know what I want, and he's kind of flirting with me at the time, which is sort of weird. And I'm thinking, oh no, this is bad. It's like, I've set myself up. I'm going to get either sexually assaulted in this room. They're going to find my gun, the body wire. This is just, this, and then in your brain, it's like, I hope everybody knows the exact crack den I'm in. Really knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
But we make this $20 deal. I just felt all my nerves just frozen up on a $20 rock deal. This was a nothing deal. He let me leave. And he's smiling and he's welcome, come on back anytime. And all I can do, never coming back. Never coming back. And I would have not gone back to that crack den. I don't care. The most afraid that I can recall being.
Yeah.
And I've been in worse situations, but not been that panicked.
And how quickly do you go from that intense feeling to your baseline calm, or how quickly do you regulate back to normal?
That night I didn't regulate back to normal for a while. And I know I didn't. I took up smoking when I was undercover. I gave it up not long after. So for about a year there, I remember smoking, I remember driving off. I remember just thinking, no, it was stupid. And I'm blaming myself. You made mistakes, you make mistakes. Don't do that again. Don't do something stupid like this again. Don't come back here again. That was in my head. It was pounding me. So that keeps that adrenaline, that dopamine, it keeps everything highlighted. Yeah. It keeps that intensity going. So you're not calming down. You're still staying up. And adrenaline and dopamine became my fix, my drug. That night, it was like I overdosed on it. It was just like a flood of it, just suddenly. And I wasn't used to it because I had gotten to the point where I could mostly do a $20, $50, $100 deals. There wasn't any adrenaline. I got more caffeine out of a Diet Coke at the McDonald's than I got out of the deal.
Yeah.
And that one didn't. That one just went off the scale on me. So it takes a while to bring it back down. So I think I'm sure I stopped and got Chinese food on the way home. I needed my carbs.
And how did you then transition to the Pentagon and the 9/11?
June of 1990, I had accepted a job as a special agent with ATF, and I had to get all their training and do all the things that they wanted.
Can you tell us what ATF is?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, known as ATF or ATF agents. And we function a lot like you might see DEA or FBI or things like that.
When you got into that, how were you pulled into the Pentagon?
When I got with ATF, going to their academy, I really, really, really took a liking to the arson and explosives training and the learning there. And I had known about their national response team, and now I got to talk to people who were on it. And I made that a goal that I wanted to become a part of the national response team, and I wanted to go to these large-scale fires and explosions and investigate, and if they were criminal, that would be arson or bombing. I wanted to do that kind of work. I like that. I like that crime scene type of work. I like working with the team. So when 9/11 happened, they called on that September morning, and we were to respond. We were to go to New York. And so we were all headed that way, and a lot of the folks were in training in Georgia, and I was at my office, and the other guy was at the office, and so we were all packing up and headed to New York. We'll just go. And on our way, they reached out to us through the radios, and they said, divert, New York is shut down, go to the Pentagon. So that worked out. So we drove straight to the Pentagon that day, and then we stayed until everything was done and cleaned up and taken care of. That's what we were doing. This national response team was there. I think initially, if I recall the number right, it was 63 of us arrived at the Pentagon driving in. We ended up keeping 50, maybe a little bit more of us there at the Pentagon working. Some of the guys were from Pennsylvania. They wanted to go back to Shanksville and help, and they did. Some of the guys were wanting to go to New York, and I remember they were released to go, and they went to New York to help out because that's where they were from. It's not just their office. It's where they were from. They have family in the New York, Jersey area, and everybody wanted to be where they wanted to be.
What were you doing there?
My job assignment was, of course, sifting debris, picking up debris, going through it and looking for a variety of things that they told us about. to look for. Of course, the number one thing was human remains, and I was specifically assigned to human remains.
How did it feel?
This one was different. I've been to scenes. We've collected human remains at scenes. Bad fires, bad explosions, arsons, bombings, whatever. This one was different. You're feeling this one all the way through. It's a job. Everybody's got to do the job. Everybody wants to know what's going on in the news. Everybody wants an answer.
Yeah.
What, why, and who, and what else is going to happen. And just all of that's going through. And you can stand out there and talk about it all day long, but that get any answers that way. It's not like we're looking for the answer of what happened. We saw what happened. Everybody saw what happened. It's getting back the things that we need to get back. And the one thing that we know we can get back is the remains, so they can be identified, so people can deal with their loss, with their loved one. So you just do that. And we work 12-hour shifts. We started off, half of you work nights and half of you work days. And we'll work 7P to 7A or 7A to 7P. And we're going to stay at this hotel where you are in walking distance. I think the walk helped because you could walk back and you had time to decompress a little bit to get to the hotel.
Did you ever say, okay, I need to go and look at what side effects this has caused me in my own personal journey, in my own mind, body? Because you do go through a lot.
No, I was in and out of relationships. They didn't last very long.
Yeah.
I would love to blame somebody else for the relationship issues, but I'm fairly certain in at least a couple of them, it was probably 51% me. I don't want to take all the blame, but maybe a little bit more, maybe 72. But, there's just things that messes with you. You also find yourself working all the time. I found myself, I don't want to say I was a workaholic, but I found myself working a lot.
Yeah.
Working weekends, nights, constant. Being on the go, just doing.
Yeah.
And not saying no. Someone told me years ago, you got to learn to say no. And I kept thinking about that, but I didn't learn it. I don't think I learned it until, probably when I retired, maybe. I don't know.
You were also diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
At what timeline was that diagnosis?
I noticed the problem in February of 2021. And so I texted my doctor's office or through the portal messaging and just told her what was going on. And I said, I know I don't see you for 2 weeks, but I just wanted to see if maybe you could get me in sooner to check on this. And she texted back about 30 minutes later, believe it or not. And she said, I will see you in the morning at 8 a.m.
Wow.
And she got me in the next morning and we talked. And she said, tell you what, I'm going to send you over to a specialist. And I thought all these tests that they had laid out, it was going to take weeks. And she said, oh no, we're going to be here for a while. So I called my husband and I said, hey, go ahead and do what you're going to be doing. I'm going to be here for a while. It looks like 2 or 3, 4 hours. So I did all the things that we could do there that day. Got back in just a day or two later. The doctor was great. He called me from his personal cell phone to talk to me. And I didn't know it. One time I tried to call the office back and I reached him on his personal cell. But nice guy, super nice doc. And so it was like, okay, this is uterine cancer. But we feel like we've got you early. And so from the time I noticed it until the time I had the surgery in March, it was a robotic hysterectomy. It was 6 weeks. He felt like he got everything. We were stage 1. He said that had I waited, that he thought that this might have been a little aggressive. And so he said it was very good to get it over with quickly. I healed up quick. I got well quick. I see them, my 5-year date is this April. And when I see them in April, I think we're going to part ways. I'd like to say we're going to part ways forever, but I really do like them. They've all been great to me. Every checkup has been good.
I love that.
And I know when I go in, I see people, they don't have the same.
So I'm going to give you a psychological perspective of this. There's a lot of research right now that shows that cancer comes from anger.
Yeah.
And that it's built up anger that hasn't been resolved for years. Yeah. And it usually takes about 8 to 10 years for the cancer to kind of grow. So they look at when the cancer kind of is diagnosed and go, okay, what happened 10 years before this? Yeah. And they try to work psychologically with this. Yeah. I see you nodding your head as I'm saying this.
Oh, I can agree with you.
You can agree with me, right? Did you feel it was an accumulation of maybe all the years of anger? Because I'm sure your job as well makes you angry, right? There's a lot
some things that make me angry.
Like I think being in that conflict of good and bad is always something that will create some sort of frustration within us, because this is right and that's wrong. That's automatically going to create some sort of feeling, but added on to the risk, your nervous system being destabilized all the time, you working hard all the time, a lot of the external factors. Then you mentioned a little bit of your love relationships not being successful. I don't know. What do you say?
You compound it. Yeah. I mean, I look at the people, that become alcoholics. They go through 4, 5, 6 divorces. You see this, they take up a gambling habit, things of that nature that happen to them. Infidelities, just all of that. And then I also see, and this happens in law enforcement, happens in a lot of people's lives.
It's true.
But I just see it because I've been in law enforcement. I also see a lot of people that passed away very young from heart attacks, cardiac events, because they say stress. I agree with whatever that study is you brought up, because I don't know, call it mad, call it stress.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we have to do a better job of looking after ourselves when it comes to managing our stress. And we're learning in the law enforcement community
that's good to know.
To look better now, to do better about these things, to talk about PTSD, to work out the issues at the time they happen and not wait to work them out 20 years later.
That's good.
We're understanding that there are increased suicides in the job. So those things are happening. They just weren't happening during my time period in the career or to the end of it. With 9/11, they have associated or related 69 types of cancer that they feel like that are 9/11 related. And mine was actually in 2023 when they finally said, yes, uterine cancer is 9/11 related. Lung cancers, blood cancers, those things. There's also asthma, interstitial lung disease, and a few other things that are and they're still studying some other things as to how they're related to 9/11. Maybe that's anger. Are there things from my job that made me angry? Yeah. Management can make you mad as hell. But I have a case that's unresolved. It's an arson homicide. It's the only thing I have left on the plate. And it makes me mad every day.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I got called into the case 4.5 years after it happened. They asked me to work it, which left me with nothing, almost. I took everything that they had. They still had the burn-up van in the impound parking for the police. They still had it there. So I had it transported to ATF's national laboratory. And there is a young man who was 25. He was out with someone who he thought was his friend. He was the father of one of his actual friends from back when they were in school days. So this man was much older. This man seemed to have had a fixation with him, very enamored with him since he was about 12, which those things brought a lot of questions to my mind, but I didn't have enough people to ask to find out what was going on. But I've never heard a grown man talk so much about a 12-year-old. Sayat was leaving. He was moving up to the Jersey, New York area to take a job. He was getting ready to leave. So this was like a final night out, like getting out. There was a group of folks that went out, but all the other people got dropped off at their homes. The driver, which was the older gentleman, got him home. It was probably 3:30 in the morning. Based on his blood alcohol content, he was pass out drunk. He was in the 0.24 range, I believe is what I remember. So he would have been passed out drunk. Heat in the vehicle at that time of night in the winter would have definitely made him sleep. I know that because when I was a trooper, whenever you made an arrest of a drunk and it's the wintertime, go ahead and turn the heat up. They'll sleep on the way and you won't have to listen to them because a lot of them cry about girlfriends leaving them and you want to hear that stuff. It was a way to make them sleep. And someone poured gasoline on him and set him on fire in that van, sitting in that front passenger seat. When they were sitting in front of the home or the apartment complex where he lived, the person came up with all these excuses of where the fire started, and that's not where the fire started. It started with Sayat. It started on his body. And how I know gasoline? Well, where he was seated at, he was sitting, and so the blue jean material from his clothing and his leather wallet survived the fire. Not much else did, but that did. It tested positive for gasoline.
Wow.
And this is not something you spill on yourself at a gas station. And he didn't pump gas that night, and they didn't stop for gasoline that night. And you don't go to a bar smelling like gas. But I talked to lots of people. I talked to his cousin, and she had seen him before he went out. And she was talking about how good he smelled that night. She was hugging onto him, and that she had liked his shirt that he was wearing. He was going out in that night. I know who poured that gasoline, but I couldn't get the prosecutor's office to even go to the grand jury with everything we had.
Wow.
That's always bothered me, that they didn't do their job. I did mine. They didn't do theirs. So that makes me angry. And if I think about it, and you can tell from my voice, I'm sure, I'm mad. I'm not mad as hell. I'm way further mad than that because it's not right. It's not fair. It's not fair to his family. It's been a long time.
How often do you think about it?
You know, you think you don't think about it, and then something happens or something you see, and it's like, damn it. It's not right. And it stays with you like that. And I have a few cases of different things that came up like that over life. But I also saw a lot of evil and a lot of bad kids that were in situations that shouldn't have been. I had 2 little boys one day. They were little, not much taller than the arm of your chair here. And they wanted me to see their room. And they lived in this trailer. And there wasn't any furniture in it. There wasn't any food. Their parents were meth addicts. And these 2 little boys had bug bites all over them. And they were wearing diapers, running around. And somebody knew that came to visit. I was there to lock up their dad. He just wasn't home. They running, come look at our room, come look at our room. And there's just this filthy mattress on the floor. And there weren't any lights for the room, but it was coming through the windows. And then I saw these roaches. The roaches were just everywhere. And I realized the little bug bites they had were the roach bites. And it was absolutely everything I could do not to choke their mother. I just was so angry at her. I remember yelling at her the whole time as soon as CPS came and got the kids to take them away, because it was just like, why would you have them in this filth? Why would you do this? And why didn't you call somebody to come and take them if you couldn't do with them?
Yeah.
But you saw that over and over and over and over and over. And it just, after a while, and in that particular case, it just hit me. That day, I was just so mad, and she was too damn stupid to care. And that's really, she really was. As long as she was high on meth, she didn't care. I don't know where those kids ended up. I dealt with another kid years later. He was 10. He got tricked into setting a fire by a 12-year-old. He was so scared because his dad was coming to pick him up. He was hoping that his mom was coming. And his dad arrived. We spoke. His dad seemed like the typical dad who's mad because his son just did $5,000 worth of damage to a church. And, I was like, hey, it's going to work out. we'll figure this all out. And, I think the 12-year-old, I'm telling him, hey, the 12-year-old kind of tricked him into this, everything. And the mom shows up, and it was good. But the mom doesn't really say anything. She's like, oh, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. It's like, okay, everybody's good. 10-year-old, we didn't get charged. We worked it all out. Dealt with the 12-year-old because he was a fire setter. Or about 6 years later, maybe 7, I heard the name Griffin Palmer again. It was a little different name and stuff. He'd been shot and killed by his dad. Griffin's mom dealt with a lot of domestic abuse, and she didn't tell anybody. And then finally she got to the point where she couldn't take it anymore. And she went to her parents' home with Griffin. And Griffin was 17, and he played high school football, and he tried to protect her. And Dad just shot him, just killed him. And then he shot his mother and killed her. And then he shot the grandparents, and he killed the grandmother, and the grandfather survived. And then he left, and he shot himself. And all I could think was that had to have been going on when I met Griffin when he was 10. And I wish Griffin had told me, or I wish his mother had told me, so we could have gotten him help back then. But they didn't. They didn't tell anybody. The next time I learned about Griffin, I thought he was a good kid when I met him when he was 10. I was right. I carry a lot of people like that. So, yeah. Anger.
Hurt as well.
Mad. Because I was supposed to help and protect, and I didn't get to do that for Griffin and for other people. And not for Sayat. And every once in a while it's like that. So it bothers you. It does heat up, and it does dig down, and you just sort of push it off. And cancer's probably one of those things for sure that stress and anger and hate, whatever it might be, finds its way someplace in your system. And I think people have to look out for themselves with that. PTSD, all those things. Get to the gym more, right? That's what they tell me.
There's a lot of pain, and I hear the pain. And something you've kind of said throughout our conversation is I'm very hard on myself.
Oh, yeah.
I criticize myself. I beat myself up.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of part of the things you're carrying is you feel solely responsible of them.
I keep telling myself to let go of that.
But that starts somewhere within you where you've taken more than your share of responsibility.
I guess.
And I feel like that probably started in that little memory as a child when the little incident that we talked about where you put it on you to save the world.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, because that's just so much to carry.
There's a lot of people out here that are carrying a lot of stuff, so I'm not the only one.
But you blame yourself for it.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people that are caught up. I watched a couple of your interviews, and I know some of those people have been through hell on earth. And
I have an existential question that I kind of always ponder. I think I used to live my life with the mindset of all people are good until I kept seeing evidence of the opposite. But the hopeful optimist within me loves to see as there is more good than evil.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask your perspective of it because you've seen a lot more than me for sure.
There are 350 million people in the United States.
Okay.
Less than 1 million of them are in jail or prison. That tells me 349 million people are doing okay. Now, amongst them, there are people who they're evil, they're bad, And they come in every size and shape and color and religion and whatever you want to classify somebody in. So you can't say, well, this is bad. No. But I like to think that there are a whole lot more good people and good-hearted people and people that will laugh when you laugh and will share a story with you or will have something in common with you than those people who are really, really evil. There are people who do bad things, but for the most part, they have a good heart. They don't mean to be horrible. And if they can get the help they need or can recognize the problem they've got, then maybe they have a chance at doing better. I've seen people get better and do better. I've seen people that you would have just never thought they were ever going to do anything but prison time. And instead, they're helping people. They're actually in a career where they're helping other people. And that's always good. So I think there's more good than there's bad. There's always going to be both.
At the end of the shadow sessions, we usually have a round of quick fire questions.
Okay.
All right. What is one word for who you were on the job?
Badass.
I love it. What is one word for who you are today?
I think accomplished.
Yeah.
I guess I can say that.
Yeah, you definitely can. Did you love the adrenaline?
Absolutely.
Did it love you back?
Probably not. I think I was just chasing the smoke.
What's a fear you never admitted in uniform?
Maybe just not being able. Not being able to do what I was supposed to do. That might have been my biggest fear.
What did the badge give you and what did it take?
I think it gave me a purpose and I was able to do a lot of things because I just wanted to. You couldn't tell me no. Telling me no is like the worst thing you can say to me because I'm going to do it now. So it gave me the purpose. It gave me a lot of things to do, but it also gave me a lot of friends. It gave me a lot of knowledge and just I got to do a lot of things and go a lot of places. So gave me a lot of those things. What the badge doesn't do, a badge doesn't love you and it will not love you. It'll just lay there. It's it's an inanimate object. So it, if you're grabbing that and going outside to get something out of it, it's not gonna give you anything back. It's what you make of it.
And my last question, are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, I am. I think so.
I love that. Jennifer, thank you so much for all your stories, for your service, for all the help and purpose that you've given into the world. We appreciate you here at the Shadow Sessions.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sitting in the dark with us. If something cracked open for you today, please don't rush to fix it. And if you're ready to dive deeper on your own, you can explore more at hibabalfaqih.com. This is the Shadow Sessions, where not all darkness is dangerous. Until next time, stay human.